In October of 1965, police officers walked into a quiet house in Indianapolis, Indiana. Nothing about the street stood out. The lawns were trimmed. The houses looked normal. Children played nearby. It was the kind of neighborhood where people believed nothing truly evil could happen. They were wrong. Inside that house, officers discovered one of the most disturbing crime scenes in American history. A crime so dark that even seasoned investigators struggled to describe it. This is not a rumor. This is not a dramatization. This is not a legend. This happened. This is the true story of Sylvia Likens. Sylvia Likens was 16 years old. She was described as friendly, trusting, polite. She liked music. She laughed easily. She was, by every definition, a normal teenager. Sylvia came from a poor but loving family. Her parents worked carnival jobs, moving from town to town just to survive. Life was unstable, but there was love. In the summer of 1965, Sylvia and her younger sister Jenny needed a place to stay while their parents traveled for work. That's when they met Gertrude Benishevsky. Gertrude was a middle-aged woman living in Indianapolis. She had children of her own. She went to church. She offered to take care of the girls in exchange for weekly payments. Nothing about her raised alarm. So Sylvia walked into that house willingly. She trusted the woman who opened the door. That trust would cost her everything. At first, life in the house seemed ordinary. The girls followed rules. They ate meals. They slept in beds. But the arrangement depended on money, and when payments became late, something inside Gertrude changed. Her voice grew sharp, her patience disappeared, her attention turned toward Sylvia. Sylvia was blamed for things she didn't do. She was accused of being immoral. She was accused of being a bad influence. Punishments began quietly. Food was withheld. Sleep was disrupted, verbal. Abuse became routine. No one intervened. The house grew tense, and slowly, normal life disappeared. The abuse escalated. Not suddenly. Not in a single moment that it grew. Sylvia was beaten out again. And again. And again. She was forced to stand for long periods. She was denied meals. She was humiliated in front of others. And then something worse happened. Gertrude invited others to participate. Her children. Neighborhood teenagers. Young people who should have known better. What began as punishment turned into entertainment. Sylvia's pain became something to watch. Laughter replaced empathy. Cruelty became routine. And the house filled with noise. Screams, mocking voices, footsteps moving away instead of toward. Help! Neighbors heard the sounds. They did nothing. Sylvia was eventually moved to the basement. Away from sunlight. Away from the outside world. Away from anyone who might see what was happening to her. The basement was dark, cold, not isolated. She grew thin, weak. Her body showed signs of starvation and constant injury. She struggled to walk. She struggled to stand. She struggled to survive. Witnesses later said she begged for mercy. Sometimes she begged to die. This was not chaos. This was not a loss of control. This was deliberate, repeated, sustained cruelty. Day after day. And no one stopped it. By October, Sylvia's body was failing. She was severely malnourished, dehydrated, exhausted. She could no longer escape. On October 26, 1965, Sylvia collapsed on the basement floor. There was no ambulance. No urgent attempt to save her. No call for help. Sylvia Likens died slowly. She was 16 years old. When police finally arrived, the truth could not be hidden. Medical examiners documented over 150 injuries. Evidence of burns. Evidence of blunt force trauma. Evidence of prolonged abuse. Detectives described the scene as one of the worst they had ever seen. One investigator later said this was not just murder. It was torture. Arrests followed quickly. Gertrude Benishevsky, her children, several teenagers who had participated. The trial shocked the nation. Witnesses described what they had seen, what they had heard. What they had been encouraged to do, jurors struggled to listen. Some cried, some couldn't look. Up, the prosecution described the crime as one of the most heinous acts of cruelty ever committed. Against a child, the jury agreed. Convictions were handed down, but the case left behind questions that still haunt people today. How did this happen in a normal neighborhood? How did screams go unanswered? How did so many people watch and choose silence? Sylvia Likens did not die in secret. She died surrounded by people who failed her. Case changed child protection laws across the United States. Her name is now studied in criminal psychology, not because of how she died, but because of how long she suffered. Sylvia Likens trusted the wrong house, and that house never called for help.